A lot of lessons picked from the Absa Cup, but overall it was a great tournament, and the deserving team won it. I think the better team on the day won the match.
Some people are saying maybe it's because Ian Bakala came from Egypt, fresh from school, getting his CAF A license.
No, Moroccan tactics. They've given it the name Moroccan tactics. No.
Yeah.
It wasn't. I don't think it was. It was about the Moroccan, experience that Bakala had. I think it was just about a more like it was more mental than it was more a physical match, because it required a lot of mental strength from both teams. And then at some point, Musa looked to control much of the ball, and they gathered momentum. But Forest Rangers were resilient. They stood strong. They did not break. They did not shake. And then they kept on. They kept believing. So it was more, for me, I feel that final was more on the mental side than it was physical, because physical punch to punch, I think Musa had a slight edge over Forest Rangers, but on the mental side of the games, I think Forest had a lot of experience. They knew how to manage those moments of the match that were important. They knew how to close down Musa whenever they were under pressure. They knew what to do when they have continuous pressure. So it was more of a mental battle than it was a physical, I think.
All right. Thanks for that. Abia, good evening. Welcome to Winter Sports.
Good evening, Reuben, and good evening, Lameck. It's a Friday. It's good to be back at Mutondo Sports. Viewers, thank you so much for joining us, and I think my colleague have already started. Yeah, let's continue. We have a lot to talk about Zambian football. How is Lusaka, my friend, Reuben and Lameck?
Lusaka is okay. I don't know how Chipata is, but the program that we're looking at the Absa Cup. But let's move forward. Let's look at the grand finale for the Premier League, the Zambian Super League. Lameck, we saw Power Dynamos being crowned as champions of the Zambian Super League away from home. That brought another dust. People said, why did Faz not crown Power Dynamos when they were playing home against Prison Leopards? I want to hear your submission there, Lameck.
I think a lot has already been said on that topic. Giving the trophy to a team that won the league with games to spare, I think that would have been the right thing to do. But Faz also have their reasons. I think Faz being in Lusaka and whatnot. So we may also look at that and maybe put it into perspective. But again, because we can also look on the cost side, on how much it would cost to do all that on the part of us, because the league sponsorship is just the league winners should be like 500,000 kwacha. Forest Rangers who won the Absa Cup, it actually got more than the team that won the league. So we may not use that as an excuse to say the financial side, because these are things that were already planned for before the season started. So whichever team had won, they needed to get the trophy at their backyard. But I think it is a learning curve. One or two lessons have been picked from it going forward. But for me, I think the idea, former champions, which was Red Arrows, giving the trophy to new champions, like for me, it was out of this world. It may have happened by coincidence or whatever, but somebody who just won the trophy last season is on handing you the trophy today. But again, they hand you the trophy after beating you 5-1. So it was another, And then another thing was that last season, Red Arrows were crowned champions at Arthur Davis Stadium, which is home to Power Dynamos. So yeah, so a bittersweet moment for Power Dynamos. I think they would have enjoyed it more had they gotten it at home at Arthur Davis, because it was a fully packed stadium in that match that they had played against Prison Leopards. But even in Lusaka, I think the number was good. It wasn't a low turnout. The number was really decent and really good. And the fans, the Lusaka-based fans managed to enjoy the trophy. And Power Dynamos also went back with a trophy to Kitwe and then managed to, do one or two things with the trophy and the fans around. So for me, at the end of the day, all parties, one or two issues may be talked about of concern, but I think all parties are happy at this moment.
All right, thank you very much. Let's hear it also from Mr. Abia. What do you make of Power Dynamos winning the league and also lifting the trophy away from home?
I think as for me, it has a impact to the home fans, only the home fans. Yeah, that's where the impact was, because they wanted to see the team happiness, cheer with some prayers, celebrate together. But sometimes things may not happen as you wish, and as it was to the Power Dynamos soccer fans. Only a few of them enjoyed away in Coloma Stadium. But sometimes you have to get used to it, because it's not always that you can have a trophy at your own pitch or at your own home ground. It's a thing that are being arranged by fans. We have to appreciate them, the decision they are making. And they are governing football in Zambia. So we have to appreciate them and enjoy whatever the outcome may be. But I think for the, sometimes I feel like it was embarrassing after being thrashed 5-1, and then you are celebrating having a trophy. You cannot have full strength to celebrate. Someone has slapped you 5 times, and then you are celebrating with those slaps. I think it wasn't good for Power Dynamos. They could have managed at least even a draw. And one thing also is that when you hand over the trophy, when there is 2 or 3 games or 1 game, soccer fans, they have that knowledge to say the league is over. So they cannot have interest to watch the remaining games. Maybe this was the idea for fans, but whatever the decision it was, you have to respect them. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you for that. At this point, let's welcome Lawrence. Lawrence, good evening. Hope you're able to hear us.
Yes, I can hear you. I'm not sure if you can hear me as well.
Loud and clear.
All right, thank you. Apologies for joining you late. I think but all the same, I'm following the conversation we are having, and it's actually
It seems we've lost Lawrence there. I can't hear him. Can you hear him, Lameck?
I also can't hear what he's saying.
All right.
I think he's having network challenges. Yeah.
Yeah, indeed. Let's move on. Let's look at the teams that were relegated.
Dynamos. I think.
Lawrence, are you back? Can you hear me now? Okay, it seems we've lost him. Let's look at the teams that got relegated. Buildcon, Nchanga Rangers, Chambishi, Lumwana Radiant. Teams that some of them we thought maybe they would not go. Teams like Nchanga Rangers, but it is what it is. They're relegated. What next for them, Lameck?
I think for Nchanga, we'll start with Nchanga Rangers. Nchanga Rangers shot themselves in the foot they should have never let Coach Robert Tembo leave in the first place, because what followed was a difficult patch, because the coach that came in with his with new instructions. He wanted the team to play in a different way from the way they knew how they played their games. If you look at the team, this is a team that was playing in the National Division 1, got promoted, 1-2 inclusions in the team. I think that brought some quality to the team. And, Robert Tembo was managing. It wasn't a roller coaster, but Robert Tembo was managing to pick results here and there. He was unbeaten at home. So, I did not see any reason for him to get fired. I felt had he continued, I think he would have helped the team survive. But coming back to when he returned on the job, the last 2 games he lost one, drew another one at home against Cabo Warriors. Not enough to help his team survive. It's for Nchanga Rangers. They'll blame themselves, I think, for the relegation. But after everything is said and done, they need to go back, reorganize themselves, and then come back, play the National League, come back stronger, and then let's hope lessons have been learned going forward. Should they get promoted next season, then the time they'll be playing Super League, I think they'll be able to, I think, make better decisions or something like that. But this is also the time that they need to reinforce the squad, not only for the National League, but also in anticipation for promotion when they are promoted, so they don't need to make wholesale changes to the team. Yes, when you are relegated, you tend to lose players because there are players that have proven that they are Super League quality, and then the big boys will come to pick 1 or 2 players from your club. It happens everywhere. When you're relegated, you lose players. So it's a difficult thing for Nchanga right now, but I think they'll find a way. They'll find a way to get out of the mess that they're in. I think for Lumwana Radiants, similar situation. Buildcon Musonda again let go in circumstances that I think he had said something like he didn't feel supported by the exco. And then we also saw a coach coming in, Muhammad Fati, for the last should be like 4 games. It's difficult to to judge Muhammad Fati on the 4 matches that is coming, because from information being gathered right now, I think it has been difficult for him to work current players that he found, because maybe 1 or 2 from that team did not clearly fit in the system that he wanted to use. So it became difficult for him to get results. But again, he tried. I think he was almost beating Red Arrows in Lusaka. Unfortunately, at home he lost to FC Muza, being condemned on the last day. I think Lumwana had fate in their hands in those 4 matches. Had they managed to win at least 3, they would have at least survived. But it's too late. They go back to National League. I think they need to make a number of changes in that team, and then if they are to make a lot of changes, then they also need to look at the prospect of returning to the Super League and what happens after that. Because when they manage to get promoted once again, they don't need to be in a situation where they need to find players for the Super League. So they also need, as they recruit this June, they also need to have that in mind to say, okay, let's prepare a team that can compete and still go on to the Super League. And when we are in the Super League, we just need 1 or 2 additions to the team, then we'll be good to go. I think for Lumwana Radiants, that's that. For Chambishi, Wellington Mujembe, he started very well. He managed to go, I think, on an 8-match winning streak. Unfortunately, second round he ran out of steam. Results, just became too difficult to get until he was fired. Dankawe came in, but he still couldn't do anything. But For Chambishi, I think that they have a good number of players, but they need to also reinforce for the National League. Not all hope is lost. I think if they can manage to keep 75% of the players that they have, then they can bounce back, in the soonest possible time. For them, a lot of lessons learned for them. I think they need to make a bit better decisions going forward. The number of players that they got rid of was it in January? I think they got rid of a number of players, which I think had an impact on the going of the season. Buildcon, I think for Buildcon, it's really tough for them because it wasn't more about just the performance, but it was more to do with the financial side of things. So in a financial difficult situation, it required a lot of sacrifice from the players. But again, it's difficult to have a situation where players are not paid for 1-2 months. It becomes difficult because you're playing against a team that is well oiled. You're playing against a Power Dynamos team that is sitting on good salaries, sitting on good checks and all of that, and then it becomes difficult. And then football at a professional level, players want to make money out of their careers, out of their talents, so they may not give 100%. But all in all, I think Buildcon were playing some good football, but things just went sour because of lack of motivation in the team, and they finally got relegated. If they come back, or if they manage to play the National League, well, we'll wait to see for that. But it was a bad season for them. I think they had a really good model. I think they were part of a revolution of Zambian football together with Lusaka Dynamos. Some of the transfer fees we are seeing today are because of the impact that these two clubs had, but it's unfortunate that they are where they are today. But I would suggest maybe, partner with people that, or maybe a company that is willing to, to come in and help you sponsor the club, and like standing on your own, because sometimes pockets run dry. If you run a club out of your pocket, it has to be more of a business model so that you are also generating income that helps you run the club. But if you're running a club and then you're only investing and not making a profit out of it, or making enough money to run the club, it becomes difficult for the club to be sustained. So this may also be the story of Lusaka Dynamos and Buildcon. So it's tough for them, but we'll see what the season goes. If they'll manage to play National League, well and good. We'll hope for the best for them and wish them the best. They may get promoted again, but they have to go back, reflect, and then see where they did wrong, find a solution for their problems, and then try and reorganize themselves and get ready to compete again.
Thanks for that. Let's try to connect to Lawrence once again. Lawrence, can you hear us now?
Yes, I can hear you, Reuben. Hope you can hear me.
Yes, you were trying to bring up something before the network misbehaved on your end.
Yeah, I was trying to bring up something to say. I think it was a good season for Power Dynamos altogether, but again, not so good. I think if you can try to, and probably next season, I think they'll need to try and reduce on the numbers or the number of games they drew throughout the season. I think there is a point where I think even the fans started calling their coach a specialist in draws. I'm sure you remember that period. So there is a point where the team was just picking up quite a number of draws and all that. It's quite a positive as well. And the negative on the other side, because I think even when the going got hard for them, it was very difficult to beat Power Dynamos. That's a plus. But I think next season, to sustain their championship, I think they need to look into the issue of the draws they collected. I think the number of draws was quite too much. If we can be honest with ourselves. I think out of the 35 games they played, probably 14 or 15 were draws, if I'm not mistaken. Only
About
picking
16,
up something
16
like
draws.
that. Yeah, and only picking up about 18 wins. I think that's one thing that should worry the technical bench for Power Dynamos. I think if I was one of them, I would really look forward to seeing how we can try and work around that, so that we can try and turn those draws into victory, so that we can be able to maintain the championship even next season. And then if you go beyond, I think Musa came through as quite a surprise package. Let's just face it. If at the start of last season, if someone said the Musa would finish second, I think would have thought that person would say that was dreaming or something like that, but they achieved it. Zesco also, I think towards the end, they managed to create some sort of momentum and the like. But the point of interest, I think, is with the relegated teams. Buildcon at the far bottom, Chambishi following them, then Lumwana Radiants and Nchanga Rangers. I think for me, it's not to say that the teams that have been relegated don't deserve it or something like that. I think probably for teams like Buildcon, the signs have been coming, I think, for quite some time.
All right, you seem to have.
Things were working out for them and all that, but the signs were there. But interestingly, Reuben, my worry is we have 4 clubs that have been relegated, 3 of them coming from the Copper Belt and 1 of them coming from Northwestern Province, and the teams that are coming to replace them are exactly replacing the 3 from the Copper Belt and 1 from the Northwestern Province. I think it's high time we saw some of the other provinces also represented in the Super League. I think it could really mean a lot and bring so much competitiveness and also so much representation if the other provinces could also supply us with some teams in the Super League. I think that's what I wanted to bring across.
Thank you for that, Lawrence. Mr. Abia, do you also want to offer your analysis on this topic?
Let me just conclude to say, like Buildcon and Chambishi, they deserve relegation. Apart from Brave Nchanga Rangers and Lumwana Radiant, because there was some fighting spirit like there. So I think I wouldn't go much into details because the main has been discussed by Lameck and Lawrence. You know, they have picked some points, but I'll just say Buildcon and Chambishi, they deserve relegation. I will miss Brave Nchanga Rangers and Lumwana Radiants. You know, Reuben, here in Mispata, Eastern Province, when we have no chance to watch live these games like Lumwana versus Zesco, Brave Nchanga Rangers versus Zanaco, we switch to ZNBC Radio 2. And you know how Renard usually do his commenting. You say?
Yeah.
When the team is losing, like Brave Nchanga Rangers, he's calling up with his colleague Aaron to say, Aaron, are they Brave Nchanga Rangers that we know? Or they have stopped being brave? You see that? So I'll miss this team. I think I'm telling you. And the Lumwana Radiants, they used to bite. When they aim to bite you, they do bite. So I'll miss that. Thank you so much.
All right. We hope the best for them as they play the National League. It's not an easy league. There's some good teams there. And just like Lawrence has said, we saw like for like in terms of province representation that have come in the Zambian Super League and teams that have gone to the National League. Lameck, let's start with you. Shinde Stadium is back in giving us some good football in the Zambian Super League. Mufulira Wanderers are back after trying for 3 seasons. They tried, missed on goal difference, missed with on a point. And on the last day this time around, they made it after playing against Konkola Blades.
Yeah, congratulations to mighty Mufulira Wanderers. I think it was a huge scare for them on the final day. Looking at the previous 2 seasons, what happened, because they had to go to the last day and they lost it on the last day. But this time around, they managed to overcome that challenge on the last day and win promotion. Eventually leapfrogging Konkola Blades, who now dropped to 4th on the table, following wins by Mutondo Stars and the Mufulira Wanderers. But again, congratulations to teams like Mutondo Stars, who started debutants in their first season in the National League and winning promotion. A huge achievement for them. They're a club that showed a lot of ambition. For Wanderers, I think their home form really helped them. They didn't do so much away from home. They picked either a loss or a draw away from home with a very, very few wins. But so far, if they can maintain their home run again in the Super League, I think they may have a decent outing. In the Super League, they may survive relegation, but they need to reinforce also. A lot of changes may need to happen. They need to come in and recruit in key areas for them. But again, we can't take anything away from them. I think they deserved it. They've been close a number of times, but they finally got it. And congrats to everyone involved at Mufulira Wanderers. I think they're in the place where they deserve to be. In the Super League is where Mufulira belongs. So it is up to the club now to see how best they can go about it, and then how best going forward it would help the club. I think it would, for me, I would advise Wanderers to change their model a bit from trying to get more established players to changing their model to getting more younger players, and then develop some of those younger talents and then put them on the market, because that helps them financially. But if you're a club and then you have no one you can sell, it becomes really difficult for you to compete. But if you can change the model, go towards looking for more younger players, then putting them out on the market, that revenue that is coming in will be supporting the reduced grants that the club is currently receiving from supporting companies. So congrats to them once again, but we would also want to look at Konkola Blades, who bounced back just after a season. Congratulations to them. It wasn't an easy one. They lost a good number of their players, in Tembo in midfield, Willard Mwanza, and other key players that were with the club in the Premier League went when they got relegated, but they managed to get a new younger players that have helped them come back. And then I hope they've learned lessons from their previous campaign and can apply what they picked in the Super League and see to it that the club survives and then becomes an established Super League club. For Trident, kudos to them for doing what they have done. It wasn't an easy route that they took, but they took the bull by the horns. They beat teams at home in Karumbila. They beat teams away in Lusaka, on the Copper Belt and other regions. So they deserved what they got. And then again, we'd also want to look at their coach Israel Mwanza, who also promoted Kansashi Dynamos, and then he's back again promoting Trident FC. He's showing his quality. He's showing that he can do the job. So going forward, I think all teams that have won promotion at this particular time really need to sit down and reinforce well for the Super League. They can get inspiration from teams like FC Muza, who've come from the National League and qualified for continental football. Their style was good. I think they brought in young players that have really helped the club. So I think it's been a good season for the National League clubs. Those that lost out, tough luck to them. Indeni, tough luck to them. I think next season is another opportunity for them to bounce back in the Super League.
Right. Every time we see teams come to to play the Zambian Super League, but there's always a casualty that will still just play for a season and then they go back. This has always been going on. Of the 4 that have come, who looks like a weak link that can just come in just to, more like a page in the Zambian Super League and go back to National League?
You know, if we're to look at the clubs, I think the 3 clubs are sponsored by Mines. So we have the KCM sponsored Konkola Blades. We have Trident who are under FQM. We also have Wanderers who are under, Mopani. We also have Mutondo Stars who are not really sponsored by Mine, by I think individuals. So I wouldn't pick a club that looks like they would easily get relegated, because I think they've all done well for themselves. When that decision we can only talk about that if we look at the signings that these clubs will make, because they will need to reinforce their squads. I think they will need a little bit of experience, but again, they need to focus more on quality than this so-called experience or the quantity of the players. So whoever doesn't recruit well at this point may actually face relegation. So it all goes down to the recruitment from all 4 clubs. But for now, it's really difficult to point out and say maybe Konkola Blades would just play a season and be relegated. For me, it's really difficult at this point. Same with Wanderers. We don't know what they have planned for themselves for this June, who they want to bring in, what changes they want to bring in and all of that. But what we can say is, whoever doesn't do good business this very, winter transfer window may actually get relegated and back to the National League.
All right. Let me bring in Mr. Abia. Mr. Abia, Trident, Mufulira Wanderers, Mutondo, and Konkola Blades will be playing the Zambian Super League. What do you make of this team?
It's good, Lameck, Reuben, to see different teams. We know Mufulira Wanderers, we know Konkola Blades, but we don't know yet Trident and Mutondo. But these 2 teams, like Trident and Mutondo, they made it possible to represent themselves in the Absa Cup. And Trident went into the semi-final, which was a surprise to me, because they booted out some team that we are expecting that they can even reach the final of Absa Cup. But Trident were equal to the task. Only fortunately to find it difficult when they were facing, I think it's the Forest Rangers. So it's true that we are going to have new teams like Trident and Mutondo. But these are the team that we shouldn't underrate, because I've seen Trident, the way they play as they were playing Absa Cup. They are really a team that's showing a zeal of playing football, a good football. So we are expecting more from them. As for me, my team, Mufulira Wanderers, I wouldn't like them to get relegation into the next season, because if you remember at the back years, this is the team that was giving the national team 8 or 9 players to the national team. That's my team, Mufulira Wanderers. This is why they say my team, Mufulira Wanderers, and also Zambia to win a Chungulu, because the same style they were playing at the club, they were the same style they were playing at national team, and the national team was doing better. So I wouldn't love Mufulira Wanderers to go back. And even when they were in the Premier League, the first season, then when they reached Premier League, they show a good football. They even participate in the Barclays Cup. That time was Barclays Cup before Absa came in. So it's a good football club. I love my team, Mufulira Wanderers. Honestly speaking, I love my team, Mufulira Wanderers. From when I was young, until right now, I'm a top soccer fan for my team, Mufulira Wanderers. But it's only performance that that's get me into Ghana because of performance for my team, Mufulira Wanderers. But all in all, it's my team. I can't lie
Alright.
here. So I'm expecting much from these 4 teams.
Great, Mr. Abia. Let's switch to international team. We know next week Saturday, Zambia will be playing the host of the AFCON 2023, which will be played next year in January. Ivory Coast will be in, and we've seen the team that will be coming, quite strong team. Our national team has set up camp in South Africa. Was that the ideal place for us to prepare for the game, Lameck?
Yes, I think it was it was right because Abraham Grant is a new coach for the national team. He hasn't spent time with these players, so for me it's okay to have him, grant him his wish of having to have a secluded, I think, training, week-long training with the team. People want to talk about finance, the financial issues and all of that. I think, the national team always has a budget before before any year starts. So it's something that I think was within the budget of the association. And then as long as it doesn't go out of the budget, then it's okay. It's good to have the players come outside the country, because one thing you need to note is that these players, majority of them, are coming back in the country after staying away from their homes for a long period of time. So a local camp, we may hear 1 or 2 stories happening because, people that you haven't seen, family and all of that, distractions. And, people may not access the camping areas of the players, but people may always come to maybe training venues, because some of the venues are not like closed like the stadiums and all of that. So we may see 1 or 2 distractions to the players, and that would be bad for us, looking at the point at which we are right now. So it's okay to grant Avram Grant his wish of having the players closed up, but for me, I support what Faz did. I think let's see what he can do. For Ivory Coast, a tricky opponent, but we're playing at home. We have home advantage, and we're positive to pick a point, I think.
A point to be enough to make us qualify, am I right?
Yes. We only need a point. When we just a draw against Ivory Coast, then that's okay. But going into the match, we are not targeting a draw. We're targeting 3 points. If we can get a draw, I think that will be enough. But what we want is 3 points.
Actually, there are 2 camps, Lameck. There's then the other one that will be going to, is it to Kuwait, being led by Coach Wadawada. Oh, sorry, by the coach for Kawa Warriors,
Coach Numba,
yes. Preparing for the COSAFA.
Yeah,
we saw that list, I'm sure.
Yeah, so we also look at that team. I think a good number of players were picked. I think people want to talk about merit and all of that. I think some of the best performers in the league were picked. The Joshua Mutales, the Frederick Mulambias, and all of that were picked in that team. And then if you look at the team,
I think maybe the cry came from most of the Muza players were missing on that part, and people expected, because Muza qualified for Continental, and automatically most of the players, they should contribute more of the players to the national team.
No. It really doesn't. Football doesn't really work like that. Because football is a collective effort from everyone. So individual for individual, maybe at the heart of defense, there are other players that were doing well from other teams than the ones at Muza. So we can't come and say, because Muza did well, we just need to get players from there. With all due respect, players should be picked on merit and how the coaches want to play their matches. So, in as much as some players may have done so well in the season that you and me agree on certain number of players that were left that did so well in the season, but the coach also needs to look at how he wants to play his football. That has a lot to say about the players that are called. So call-ups are a complicated thing. It's really difficult to understand how coaches reach, certain decision to call certain players. But what we want are results. If a coach can get us results with the same players that he has, then that's okay. But if he can't give us results, we'll just pick, another coach to continue doing, that can bring us results at the end of the day. But again, these are players that also are looking forward to transitioning into the senior national team. So we may also have the age factors, who plays, who doesn't, what roles they are coming in for, and all of that. So, a lot of debate going on, but for me, I'm happy with what I've seen so far. Maybe 1-2 names would have been there, but it's okay. I think let the coaches do their job, and we'll talk after the job has been done.
All right, let's look at the send-off match for the Copper Queens. Today they had the send-off luncheon with the vice president, and the vice president has actually assured them that she'll be one of the people that will come and support them on Sunday as they are playing Tanzania. What do you make of this match? A good way of saying bye to the Zambians as they are going to play the World Cup?
Yeah, it's really a good match for the Copper Queens. I know, there was another match that was being planned, a much bigger opponent on the world stage, but that didn't materialize. But for Tanzania, for me, it's okay. I think they are our neighbors on the coast side of things. It's okay for us. I think it's something manageable, because again, if you look at the women's team, women's football is not the best sponsored, even at national level. I think it doesn't have a similar sponsorship compared to the male. I think changes are currently being made, but that friendly and important one for fans to look at our stars that are around, say bye to the girls, wish them well, and then hope we play an injury-free match, and then wish the girls the best as they go to camp in Germany, and then play 1-2 friendlies there, and then continue shaping up. But what we want is just these friendlies that the team is playing, I think, should focus more on playing as a collective effort, playing more as a team, seeing strengths, getting to see 1-2 players, because we already have a list of players that have been playing consistently. So we may also want to see 1-2-3 players that can also fit in, and these are matches that we can expose certain players to an international stage, because there are other girls that can do the job but just haven't been given that much opportunity. So this is the time to give those girls an opportunity, let them play their hearts out, let them show us what they can do, and then who knows, they may be the one to score the winning goal at the World Cup, and then we end up winning the World Cup. So for me, a very good, like, for us as fans. For me personally, I'm really happy to see that friendly being played for the Copper Queens before they leave.
All right, Mr. Abia, the last game for the Copper Queens before they go to the World Cup. I want to get your comment and your conclusion also, because we need to close this program.
All right, thank you so much. It's a really good thing. I like it. The way FIs are organizing friendlies for Chipolopolo, it's a good thing, because it will sharpen the team, and the girls will see it's a one thing that they can weigh up the team combination. So I think it's a really good thing to see that Zambia is playing a friendly game with Tanzania, our neighbors, and We are also expecting for Chipolopolo to play another friendly match after camp in Germany. This is a really good thing. I support what fathers are trying. And in my conclusion, I want to say it's good to see how football is growing up in Zambia, because we have two different teams now representing Champions League and CAF Confederation Cup. And I wish for these two teams to prepare more and be ready for CAF games, so that we can get those two slots that we lost. We need to have 4, so that tomorrow we have a good competition. As
All right, we seem to have lost Mr. Abia there. Lameck, as we also wrap up, I wanted also to get your opinion, because you've been calling for that the technical team for the Chipolopolo or for the Copper Queens need to be strengthened, and we saw the coming in of a technical advisor in Lisa Cole. Does that make you happy now? You are satisfied with the way the technical team for the Copper Queens has been strengthened?
Yeah, I'm really happy to see Lisa Cole being added to the Copper Queens bench. I think we need, Coach Bruce Mwape needs that help going into the World Cup, because again, we as Africa, we have limited resource. We tend to have limited exposure to certain things. But again, it's okay for me. I feel it's okay to bring someone who has more exposure, like Lisa Cole, who's coming in. She's worked with the United States under-17 team, and then coached another team in the Americas there. And then it's just a combination of ideas. She brings different ideas from where she's coming from, and we also bring our ideas to the table and work towards a collective, collective goal. Because what we all want is for the Copper Queens to go and put in a good campaign, and then results will show at the end of the day. Addition of Jamie Lawrence to the bench, a positive for us. A video analyst coming soon, a positive for us also, because we need to have a stacked up bench in order to compete well. Because the teams that we are competing with have 22 members on that technical bench. And for us, we may have just like 7 members on that technical bench. But what we need is to make sure that in the key important, we may not have everyone in every necessary department but we will need to have the most important departments having people there that can help the team, and like just having Bruce, his assistants, and then maybe 1-2 other people that make up the technical bench. For us, what we want is to have people that come in and put in a lot of effort and then bring value to the team in order to help get a positive result at the World Cup. And in conclusion, I think so far so good with Zambian football. I think the positive strides are being made, but we need to continue, putting in more effort. I think working towards getting better deals for the sponsors, and the other thing, to make Zambian football more attractive, not only to the teams but also to the fans. Because if we know, maybe if the Super League prize money is like maybe 5 or 7 million kwacha, teams may go an extra length in investing in their squads, because they know that if they won the league, they would get maybe half of what they invested. So for me, I think so far so good. Progress is being made. I think we already have a structure of what we want to do, and then signs are there. We are really positive. For me, I'm really positive that where we're going, a lot of good things will come.
All right, thanks very much, Lameck and Abia, and also Lawrence, for coming through on Ubuntu Sports. Thank you also to you, our viewers. We'll see you next week, same time. This is where we come to the end of this week's edition of Ubuntu Sports. We wish all the best to the Copper Queens as they play Tanzania on Sunday. For now, from us, it's goodbye and God bless you.